What happens if someone puts sugar in my coffee? They said, well, nothing, you'd be fine. I said, what if someone drops in poison instead? They said, well, you'd be dead. Exactly, I replied. Then I asked, what if my worst enemy put sugar in my coffee? They said, you'd still be fine. I said, what if my best friend, even by accident, drops in the poison? They said, you'd still be dead. Right? I said. See, it doesn't matter who gives you the bad stuff. The outcome is the same. That's why every day you have to stand guard at the door of your mind. Be careful what you let in. You wouldn't let just anyone pour poison into your drink, so why let them pour negativity, doubt, and bad ideas into your mind? Protect it. Because in the end, you have to live with the results. Your mind is like a factory, producing thoughts, ideas, and ultimately the results you see in your life. But just like any factory, the quality of the output depends entirely on what's going in. If you let in the wrong ingredients, doubt, fear, negativity, what kind of results do you think you'll get? That's why you must stand guard at the door of your mind every single day. Imagine this. If someone handed you a glass of water with just one drop of poison, would you drink it? Of course not. You'd say, are you crazy? Even one drop could harm me. And yet so many people allow toxic thoughts, toxic influences, and toxic people to pour poison into their minds every single day without ever questioning it. See, I learned this the hard way. When I was young, I wasn't careful about what I let into my mind. I listened to people who complained, people who doubted, people who made excuses. And do you know what I did? I started complaining, doubting, and making excuses. My income stayed low, my future looked uncertain, and I was stuck. Because I was allowing the wrong influences into my life. Then my mentor sat me down and gave me a reality check. He said, Jim, if you want to change your life, you have to change what you feed your mind. You don't get rich thinking like poor people. That was a turning point for me. I realized that success wasn't just about working harder. It was about thinking better. I started replacing negativity with wisdom, excuses with responsibility, and doubt with belief. I started reading books that challenged my thinking. I surrounded myself with people who were achieving great things. And let me tell you, my income followed my mindset. Now, here's the real question. What are you allowing into your mind? Are you letting in ideas that build you up or ideas that tear you down? Are you listening to people who encourage you to grow or people who tell you why you can't? Because here's what I know. Your mind will absorb whatever you feed it, whether it's good or bad. Ever notice how some people are always talking about how bad the economy is, how hard life is, how unfair everything is? And yet there are others living in the same economy, facing the same challenges, who are thriving. The difference isn't luck, it's mindset. So be careful, be selective, protect your mind like you would protect your most valuable possession, because it is your most valuable possession. Read the right books, listen to the right voices, stand guard every day, because what you allow in will shape your future. And if you get this right, your life will never be the same. If you want to know where your life is headed, take a look at the people you spend the most time with. It's a simple but powerful truth. You become like the people you associate with. The conversations you hear, the attitudes you absorb, the habits you pick up, these things shape your future more than you realize. I learned this early in my journey. When I was struggling financially, barely making progress, I looked around and realized something. The people I spent the most time with weren't going anywhere either. We had the same complaints, the same excuses, and the same financial problems. It wasn't a coincidence. Environment is powerful. If you sit around with 5 broke friends, guess what? You're going to be the 6th. If you spend all your time with people who see limitations, you will start seeing limitations too. Then I got around successful people, people who thought differently about money, opportunity, and life. And let me tell you, it was uncomfortable at first. They challenged me. They forced me to think bigger. They didn't tolerate excuses. But I made a decision to stay in that environment. And over time, something amazing happened. My mindset changed. And when my mindset changed, my results changed. That's why it's critical to evaluate the people around you. Who are you listening to? Are they encouraging you to grow, to take risks, to develop better habits, or are they keeping you stuck? Some people will drag you down without even realizing it, simply because they've accepted mediocrity as normal. You have to decide whether you're going to accept it too. Ever notice how successful people tend to surround themselves with other successful people? That's not an accident. They understand that proximity is power. If you spend time with millionaires, you start to think like a millionaire. If you spend time with visionaries, you start seeing opportunities you never saw before. Think about it like this. If you hang around smokers long enough, chances are you'll pick up the habit. If you spend time with people who constantly complain, you'll find yourself complaining too. But if you spend time with people who are disciplined, driven, and financially wise, you'll start picking up their habits. Now, that doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life completely, but it does mean you have to be intentional. You need to choose your inner circle wisely. Find people who challenge you, who inspire you, who make you think bigger. If you don't have those people in your life yet, seek them out. Read their books, listen to their wisdom, learn from their experiences. Because in the end, your income, your mindset, and your success will always reflect the company you keep. If someone handed you a roadmap to success, detailed instructions on how to build wealth, develop influence, and create a fulfilling life, would you take it? Would you study it, follow it, apply it? Of course you would. Yet, do you know where that roadmap already exists? In books. It's amazing how many people say they want success, yet they never take time to learn from those who have already achieved it. They struggle for years making the same mistakes, while the answers they need are sitting on a bookshelf waiting to be read. One book, one idea, one shift in perspective could save you 5 years of trial and error. When I started out, I wasn't much of a reader. I thought I was too busy working, too busy trying to make ends meet. But then I realized something. Wealthy people read. Unsuccessful people don't. Every successful person I met had a library. They were always learning, always improving. Meanwhile, the people struggling the most spent their time on entertainment, distractions, and excuses. I decided I wanted to be on the other side of that equation. So I started reading. I read books on wealth, business, personal development, and human behavior. And let me tell you, my mind started expanding. Ideas I had never considered before started shaping my decisions. I started seeing opportunities where before I only saw obstacles. My income grew because my knowledge grew. Now, some people say, I don't have time to read. Really? No time? But they have time for television. They have time for endless conversations that lead nowhere. They have time for distractions. The truth is, it's not about time, it's about priorities. Think about this. If you read just one book a month, 12 books a year, in 5 years, that's 60 books full of wisdom that could change your life. But most people, they don't read even one, and they wonder why their life never changes. Have you ever noticed how broke people seem to know everything? They argue, they resist new ideas. They say, I already know that. But wealthy people, they are students for life. They never stop learning. They ask questions, they stay curious, and they remain open to new knowledge. Now, reading alone won't make you rich. Application does. If you read, but never apply, it's like collecting tools, but never building anything. But when you read, learn, and act on what you learn, that's when things start changing. The great thing is, you don't need to figure everything out on your own. There are books on wealth, mindset, sales, leadership. Everything you need to know is already written. The question is, are you willing to pick up the book and turn the page? Success isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you refuse to do. And one of the greatest killers of success? Mental poison, excuses, complaints, and the victim mentality. These things don't just slow you down, they keep you stuck. It's easy to spot. Ever meet someone who always has a reason why they can't succeed? The economy is bad. Taxes are too high. I wasn't born into the right family. They've got a long list of excuses. And you know what all of them have in common? None of them put the responsibility on themselves. It's always something or someone else to blame. But here's the truth. As long as you have excuses, you'll never have results. Now, I wasn't always successful. I struggled. I made mistakes. And at one point I was broke. And you know what I did? I blamed everything but myself. I blamed the government. I blamed my employer. I even blamed the weather. But then I had a mentor who gave me a reality check. He said, if you don't change, nothing will change. That was tough to hear, but it was exactly what I needed. See, the problem with excuses is they give you temporary relief, but permanent failure. You feel better in the moment because you shift the responsibility away from yourself, but long term, nothing improves. The only way to change your circumstances is to take full ownership of them. And let's talk about complaining. Complaining never solved a single problem. It doesn't fix things. It makes them worse. Because the more you complain, the more your mind gets trained to see the negative in everything. Ever notice that complainers always seem to have more to complain about? That's because they built a habit of focusing on problems instead of solutions. Now, the worst mental poison of all, the victim mentality. This is when a person believes that life just happens to them, that they have no control, that success is for other people but not for them. And if you start thinking like that, you've already lost. Because if you don't believe you have power over your own life, you'll never take action to change it. But here's the good news. You can detox your mind. Just like you wouldn't drink poisoned water, you can refuse to let excuses, complaints, and a victim mindset enter your thinking. You can replace them with responsibility, gratitude, and action. You can make it a rule to never speak about a problem without also talking about a solution. It's a choice. You can choose to let mental poison hold you back, or you can choose to rise above it. And once you make that decision, nothing can stop you. The moment you get comfortable is the moment you stop growing. And the moment you stop growing, you start declining. Success is never about reaching a destination and saying, that's it, I've made it. No, success is about continuous improvement, always pushing forward, always reaching for the next level. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I've worked hard, I deserve to relax. And yes, you should enjoy your progress, celebrate your wins. But the danger is in thinking you can stay where you are without effort. Life doesn't work that way. Everything is either growing or dying. A tree doesn't stop growing. The moment it does, it starts rotting. And the same is true for people. There was a time when I was doing, my income had increased, my lifestyle had improved, and I thought, I've made it. So I started relaxing. I read fewer books. I skipped opportunities to learn. I let myself slow down. And do you know what happened? My business slowed down. My income dropped. And I realized something. What got me there wouldn't keep me there. Success requires hunger, a constant desire to learn, improve, and become better. Wealthy people don't stop learning when they make money. They don't stop growing when they reach a goal. They know that every new level of success requires a new level of discipline, knowledge, and action. That's why the most successful people in the world still read, still learn, still challenge themselves. They refuse to settle. Now look at the opposite. How many times have you seen someone start strong, make progress, then get comfortable? Athletes who stop training after winning a championship. Entrepreneurs who stop innovating after making their first million. Salespeople who stop hustling once they get a few big clients, and what happens? They fall behind. Because someone hungrier is out there, willing to put in the work they're no longer willing to do. The key is to stay a student, stay in motion, stay uncomfortable. Growth only happens when you stretch yourself beyond what feels easy. If it's been a while since you felt challenged, you're probably not growing. If you haven't struggled to learn something new recently, you're probably standing still. So ask yourself, am I still hungry? Am I still pushing for the next level, or have I let comfort slow me down? Because the moment you get comfortable is the moment you risk losing everything you've worked for. Stay hungry, stay sharp, and never stop reaching for more. So here's the choice in front of you. You can stand guard at the door of your mind, protect what you allow in, and build a mindset that attracts wealth, success, and abundance. Or you can let negativity, excuses, and mediocrity slip through the cracks and shape your life in ways you never intended. The difference between the rich and the poor isn't just money, it's mindset. The wealthy think differently. They surround themselves with the right people. They read, they take responsibility, and they never stop growing. They understand that success isn't an event, it's a process, a journey that requires discipline, awareness, and the courage to keep improving no matter how much they've already achieved. So what's it going to be? Will you filter out the mental poison, avoid the traps of excuses and comfort, and commit to learning, growing, and surrounding yourself with winners? Because if you do, the rewards are inevitable. We don't get what we want. We get what we deserve based on how we think and what we do. Guard your mind. Stay sharp. Stay hungry. Because the life you build starts with the thoughts you allow in.